Good afternoon. This is Rick Baker with Coldwell Banker. Here's your mortgage tip of the day. What happens is when people go shopping for a mortgage, over 95% of people do it wrong. First of all, a lot of people don't want to do it until they find the house. Well, that's not good either, because then you don't know what your budget is, or if your income is subject to ups and downs. Maybe you got a bonus one year. They're going to go look at the last couple of years and they're going to average that out. You know, most people tend to remember last year if that was their best year. So you can't do that. The other thing you can't do is wait until you found the house, because if it takes a day or so to get a full approval letter, you know, they're not even going to look at your offer without that. And most importantly, I take all the clients I work with and say, listen, we start with the pre-approval. Here's why. What happens is the score you think you have is almost never the same as what happens when you apply for a mortgage, especially if you're getting it from places like Credit Karma or things like that. That place is the closest thing to perfection on this earth, because they're always wrong. When you apply for a mortgage, the internet tells you there's big hurdles like 620, 680, 720, 780. Those are the major ones. But there's actually a series of 20-point buckets, say 760 to 779. If you apply and say you're at 775, that's real good credit. But if you wait till the last minute, you don't have time to figure out what you can do to get those extra 5 points. If you can get from 775 to 780 in this example, you'll get a better interest rate. You'll get better terms. So by applying up front, even if you're not going to be, you don't think it takes months maybe to find the right property, because it's a big decision, you have to go slow. But by having the approval in hand and a good loan officer holds your hand and says, listen, this is what you have to do to get to the next bucket. So they can hold your hand and tell you, this is what you can do to raise your score. Sometimes people are carrying a balance, and the balance is a little high. You know, that formula, some people think you shouldn't be more than 1/3 of the available credit on any one card or on total credit, whatever that is. Or if you're within that, but you've got car payments, student loans, and things like that, because the student loan payments are coming back. You know, so those are all things that you need to get factored into your pre-approval letter. So apply now, spend the time while you're looking, so that a good loan officer holds your hands and says, this is what you can do to improve your credit score so you get to the next level. Another thing you can do before you even apply is there's an opt-out. And if you direct message me, I can send it to you so that you get rid of 95% of your junk mail. You know, those pre-approved credit offers. Maybe someone grabs that and opens a credit card in your name. By opting out of that, you get rid of all that junk. But most importantly, what happens is, whenever someone's had applied with me, they start getting calls from every mortgage lender in the Western world. What happens is, Coldwell Banker doesn't sell your information, that's for sure. But the nice folks at the credit bureaus sell it, like TransUnion, Equifax. They're selling it. They're called trigger leads. If you don't opt out of the trigger lead, you're going to get a ton of phone calls as soon as you apply. And this way, you don't get buried under those types of phone calls. So do the opt-out before you apply. Then you can apply, get the actual score. Then you know your budget, and the best thing you can do is live below your means. You know, and then that way, live in it for a few years. And as everyone has followed me knows, I tell people never to sell your real estate. If it's good enough to live in, it's good enough to rent out. I was an investor for 25 years before I got my license. And at my peak, I owned 52 rental homes at the same time. The best thing you can do is create generational wealth by renting out the property and having the tenant pay down that mortgage for you. Give me a call. Again, it's Rick Baker with Coldwell Banker, 972-836-8880. For some interesting reading on this subject, one, go to my website, neversellyourhome.com. Neversellyourhome.com. My main website is getarealrealtor.com. Thank you.